newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Well, welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. Brad Miller along with you. And today we welcome into studio a guest that we've chatted with a number of times over the year. And it seems like every year at about this time we get Dave Beach to come in and share some information with us because returning tomorrow, in fact, the Job, Career, and Education Fair comes to the Verde Valley, an opportunity for employers to meet prospective employees. And this will be at the Verde Valley Fairgrounds tomorrow, about starting at 9 until 2 in the afternoon. And as we talk about recovery and the state of the economy and are things improving, we've got a guy here who could share some good insights into that. So hello to you, sir, Dave Beach.
Good morning, Brad. Thank you for having us.
Good to have you here. Thank you so much. And we'll talk certainly about the job fair tomorrow. Can I shorthand it and call it the job fair?
You most certainly may.
All right, Job, Career, and Education Fair, so there's a lot to it. But as we do, I was going to kind of hope to pick your brain with, you've been with the Department of Economic Security for some time.
About 12 and a half years.
Okay. Maybe talk a little bit about that and how these two things, tomorrow's event and just kind of the situation in Arizona specifically, where when we hear about recovery and a lot of, the politicos kick around a lot of words, we're recovering, no, we're not, it's fast, no, it's not, those kinds of things. Set that aside. In the Verde Valley, can I start there, a preface to the job fair discussion? Are we in a recovery from your perspective? You work with people that are looking for work.
Yeah, I think that we probably are. It's typical this time of year to see an increase in jobs anyway because of our major driver here, which is tourism.
Seasonal.
And we have definitely seen that, and probably a little bit more this year, I think, than what we've seen in the last probably 3 years. We have more jobs on our board now. We've had more people being hired. So there's definitely some recovery anyway. I wouldn't call it rapid for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely not as rapid as the decline was. So.
Sure. Okay. Nothing ever is when it's when it's gas prices go down, go up fast, come down. It's kind of the same thing. It always seems to edge that way. Yeah. But it does seem that if we're starting to kind of climb one rung at a time, even. Can you give me, if this is an esoteric kind of term, but can you give me the mood of, let's start with employers and then talk about employees perhaps, but as you talk, are people starting to get maybe a little more optimistic as part of this recovery, or what are you kind of sensing?
Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer because, some employers, it seems like, are not having any problems. They're finding people and getting people hired. And others, it seems like, are really struggling. There's certain positions that are really struggling in the Verde Valley, and that's the caregiving positions and housekeeping. We have lots and lots of openings for both of those. Okay. And
so when you say struggling, you're talking about positions that need to be filled?
Need to be filled, yes. Trying to find people that can qualify for those positions. So, the majority of them require background checks, and that's definitely been an issue. And just trying to find the quantity of people that they need, especially for the tourist industry, the resorts in Sedona, trying to find housekeeping positions.
I know a lot of times we've talked, like with folks, say, at Yavapai College, and a lot of times when it gets difficult economically, enrollment actually goes up. Now, I can't speak to their numbers specifically because folks are trying to kind of retrain or learn new skills to work that way. Has there been a sense then, you say there's a lot of caregiving, say, let's just use that example that you gave. Are folks starting to kind of react to that and maybe become eligible to fill those positions? Are you feeling that locally?
Well, we definitely have seen that over the last 3 years. Quite a few more people that have gone to classes to become certified caregivers or certified nursing assistants. Those types of positions have definitely had I would imagine Yavapai College has definitely seen an increase in those. And some of the places do their own training, and I'm sure that they've seen that also. Sure. It's just that there's lots of that in the Verde Valley. There's lots of caregiving places here because we do have a fairly large retirement community here also, and so the need has been pretty great.
It seems like there's nothing that's bulletproof, but it does seem like there are certain things, and that's a good one with our retired citizens. A lot of them live here, whether in facilities or even in their own homes, that are going to continue that high demand that you're seeing right now. Whereas some other sectors, tourism tourism to some degree, construction to a huge degree. That's the one that really got the carpet kind of pulled out from under it. How about builders? How are they kind of?
Well, you know, we've seen, just talking to some people in the real estate industry that I've dealt with, they've seen the housing market change over the last, I'd say over the last year now, and especially the last 6 months. Their inventory, housing inventory for sale has definitely gone down. We have a little bit more building going on. Some of the contractors are now, you know, they brought people back that they had laid off, and so we've seen that increase. It's very slow, but it is headed in the right direction, I believe.
Sure. We get that too here at the radio station, and just folks at large. Just, I mean, sometimes just the water cooler talk, having lunch out in the community, you start to get a sense, and it feels that way. And we'll see, and we'll certainly see the job fair will probably give us some answers toward that too, finding out how employers feel and how folks that are still looking. I know sometimes when we get, let's just again use that example of building, when the guys and gals aren't getting the work, they move on. They try to find another place, and we saw that. We saw school enrollment drop in a lot of places. That was attributed to that, and in the last couple of years, are folks in the building industry that are starting to rehire and are starting to kind of get it going again, are they having a difficulty filling those jobs too?
I don't think they are. I don't think that they're having any problem filling positions. We rarely get a position listed, and when we do, they fill fairly quickly. We have had a couple of pretty big road projects. They're doing the I-17 project, and then there's a contractor that's doing some work between Camp Verde and Payson, and we had several people hired on those jobs, and we were able to fill them the day that they listed the positions with us. So
gotcha.
We've been able to fill most of that type of work pretty quickly. We've had quite a few contractors here, I think, actually go out of business or relocate when the industry, as you said, was yanked out from under the rug, yanked out from under us. I've got, I think, about 12 people that I've worked with in the past that I see off and on that have been working up in the Dakotas and Montana, up in the oil and gas fields. And then they come back for 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and then they're back. So
kind of temporary relocation, if you will. It's odd. In a way, it's kind of sad. Nobody maybe wants their lives disrupted, but it's also inspiring that it just, it seems to be the American way. You find a way to get it done, and as things recover, perhaps some of that agitation will sort out and kind of mix down. But that's interesting. That's what I want to get. Whereas, like you say, the caregiver industry, there's a big demand, and those can't get filled quite quickly enough. Construction, there's still plenty of guys out there that want to jump into those as they come. But good news for those who are hiring people in the construction business, that there's still a good crop of folks that want work and want to do it. Let's go ahead and take our break. When we come back, we will talk more specifically about the job career and education fair. It'll be tomorrow at the Verde Valley Fairgrounds, 9 to 2. Dave Beach is our guest. We'll talk about that when we come back to Countywide right after this.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. So I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
So they have that, and that's kind of... Welcome back to the program. Brad Miller with you, and again, our guest today, Dave Beach, Dave with the Department of Economic Security, and the Job Career and Education Fair comes back to the Verde Valley Fairgrounds tomorrow. This is an event that's been in the Verde Valley annually for, gosh, Dave, how many? A number of years.
I've been there 12 years. We've done this all but 1 year, and that was 2 years ago. The economy dictated that the employers weren't doing any hiring. And
right.
So we did skip it the 1 year, but it's been, and it was going before I started working.
Right.
They had
So,
had them, so
pretty much an annual tradition for quite some time. This is going to be as we do our show. It's tomorrow, April 3rd. We may repeat this broadcast, so it is on the 3rd of April, 9 to 2 at the Verde Valley Fairgrounds. When we talk about a job, career, and education fair, the job fair, this simply is, to most simply put it, is folks coming out from businesses, companies, corporations, firms, whatever you want to say, big ones and little ones, will be there. They want to meet prospective employers or employees, workers. Is that right?
That's correct.
Tell me how it works.
We have about 50 tables right now that are sold. We have, I would say it's mostly employers that are looking to hire. We have a few educational institutions that'll be there. Maybe I think about 4 or 5 of those, and a couple of places that are going to be talking about careers to people. They may not necessarily be hiring right at the moment, but they're positions that you can look to maybe for a career, and they'll explain to people what it takes to get into that type of a career. So, but the majority of it is about jobs. And
I know a lot of times when we think about these, we talk about it from the employee perspective. And this can be folks that come, maybe it's not cut off short. I mean, honestly, shouldn't you kind of go and think that you may be meeting someone who could give you a job at this and present yourself as such? Bring resumes? I mean, is that encouraged?
Yeah. And we, of course, we talk to people that come through the office a lot about that, about, dressing properly for it. If you can keep from it, don't bring your kids with you.
Sure.
That's not a good sign to the employer. It's like, you couldn't get someone to do child care for you. Are we going to have a problem if I hire you?
It's the little things that could mean...
dress properly, bring your resume, make sure that you have a resume with you. If you don't have, stop by our office. We can assist you with that. We are going to have a person at the job fair that's going to be assisting people with resumes from Yavapai College. Lillian Kessel will be there. So those are really important things, and have some kind of an idea probably of what it is that you want to do.
Right.
So you can target those specific employers.
We hear about people that have been looking for work maybe for a long time, and I'm kind of getting some of that notion nationally, and kind of have fallen out of the job market. They've looked and looked and looked and just can't kind of find anything. Is this a good opportunity tomorrow for folks to come and, even if you're not ready to say, wow, that place, that company, what they do, I could do for them right now, but is it a good place to come and kick the tires, so to speak, and maybe just think of different areas where maybe you could go with some additional training, education, take steps toward moving into something different? Can I do that at this job fair?
Oh, it'd be a great place for them to do that. And we have seen quite a bit of that, of people that have used up their unemployment. If they were on unemployment, they've they used up the extensions that were there.
Right.
They've fallen off the rolls. And they're still looking for work, but they just haven't been able to find it. This would be a great place for them to, meet the employers face to face, and yeah, maybe explore some other avenues that they hadn't. Right. Maybe talk to some educational people there about opportunities that maybe could help them get into the workforce. And probably, and this is my perspective. I don't have any figures, or I haven't seen any figures on it, but I would say that I'm going to guess that at least 70% of the people that are on unemployment right now are 50 and over. It is a huge group of people, the older workers, that are really having trouble finding jobs.
And we're talking about locally as well as we hear that nationally, certainly.
Very much local.
And that's a difficulty, no matter good times or poor. When you get to a certain age, how much am I going to invest? I mean, it sounds cold, but it's true, and it's a fact of life for the American worker and has been for a long, long time. And I'm really glad you brought it up, because we do have kind of a median age in our community that is on the higher end. What's being done to kind of address that? I mean, it's a headache for sure.
Talking to employers about, you're missing out here because there's a tremendous amount of experience. A lot of these people have, because of the economy, are going to have to work longer than they had originally planned to. So they still have some years left. It's not like you're going to hire somebody and they're only going to be there for a year or two. Right. So, there's some tremendous amount of experience, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of good work habits. So dependability, I think employers should really take a second look at some of the older workers.
When we talk about that, what are kind of the things, you touched on a few of them there, when employers might be a little, say, hesitant to hire a worker 50 and up? Is it because, well, they're just not going to have the trained, the skills that I need? The kids. Yeah. Anybody younger than me is a kid. Yeah. So there's a lot of kids. Yeah. But they're going to have maybe, we think about tech. Let's just say that, because that's an obvious one, that, some of the younger people are going to be very, very acute toward kind of understanding those things. Is there more of a fear, do you think, that older workers may not have that? And is it a misconception?
In some of the industries, that's probably true. They don't have maybe the computer skills that you're looking for. Yeah. They haven't stayed up with the technology, maybe, and so that's definitely a fear. I think what I hear mostly, though, is they were making X amount of dollars. I can't pay them that. I'm going to hire them here, and they're going to be, in a very short period of time, they're moving on to somewhere that they found a higher pay. Yeah. And I'm not getting that feeling from the job seekers. Most of them they're looking for somewhere they can get and they want to stay. And, right. They don't have to have that high dollar they were making before. Maybe they're on Social Security now, but they still need a little extra, to make right. it. And so, they're, I'm just not seeing that. Right. I don't see as much of the technology part of it missing as I do you're not going to stay with me.
And that's a good point. We kind of get that, in our area. That is something that I think specific to our area, saying Yavapai County. They have cities because that's where the higher dollars are. That's where everything right. that's good and bad about a city is. Typically, generically speaking, yeah. you can go, young man, go to the city and make your way, and you can do it more quickly. Most people that live of a work age that live in Yavapai County, it seems to me, are here by choice. And there's a certain degree of understanding that you may be a bit more limited in that, whether it's the salary, whether it's the benefits, whether it's the whole package. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think what you said about some of these workers are like, well, I don't need that salary that I might have drawn before. That's what's not being communicated.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're seeing a lot of that. I don't think the communication is there, maybe because they haven't gotten the opportunity to communicate that. Yeah. Employers can't ask you how old you are. They can't ask you what your birth date is. Right. But it's really not terribly difficult to figure out roughly how old you are. Sure. And, when they get to a certain point, it's like, there is that lack of communication, I think. And, if they would talk to them a little bit more, I think they may find that, this may be somebody I can use for 10 years that could do a good job for me. You bet.
It needs to become a different way of thinking, nationally as well as locally. And tomorrow would be a great opportunity for folks to do that. If you're in that that kind of 70% that Dave mentioned, or if you're someone just starting out and want to remain somewhat local. Most of the display or vendors, I guess we can say, that'll be there tomorrow are local to Yavapai County or Verde Valley?
It's mostly Verde Valley. Okay. quite a few from Cottonwood, quite a few from Sedona. We do have about 5 this year, I think, that are from the Prescott area that are coming over.
Dave, I'm sorry, we need to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll chat a little bit about that, kind of wrap up the show, give you more details about the Job, Career, and Education Fair at the Verde Valley Fairgrounds on April 3rd. A short break, back after this.
I got no pulse, so losing.
Charging. He's in VFib.
Shocking.
Is it real all the time? Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
We're just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Fire can happen at any time. What would you try to save?
My family photos.
My grandfather's war memorabilia.
My dogs.
I'm firefighter Brandon Wacker with the Cotton Fire Department. A working smoke detector is your best defense in the event of a fire. Make sure you have a smoke detector in every room except your kitchen. Test them monthly and change the battery once a year. Take the time to save the things you can't replace.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Welcome back to the program, our final segment, Countywide. Our guest today is Dave Beach, talking about, as we do the show today on this Tuesday, April 3rd is the Job, Career, and Education Fair. We may repeat the show a time or two after the fair, but there's still plenty to do, and you can contact Dave, the Department of Economic Security in Cottonwood. Certainly a wealth of resources for folks that are looking for work. If you have jobs to post, if you're an employer, you probably are already familiar with Mr. Beach and what the folks at DES do. But again, tomorrow, Dave, to just kind of put it to wrap it up here for us, a very good opportunity, an important opportunity. Roughly 50 or so folks, job offerings will be there. It's a great opportunity to get workers and employers together.
It is, and we may end up with around 55 or 60 even. Great. It's hard to say. It's very typical to get a few sign-ups on the very last day. So, but it is a great opportunity for job seekers to get out there and meet face-to-face with, and these are almost all human resources people. They're the hiring managers, and get that face-to-face, especially the corporate part of it, because the corporate is much harder to do that. Everything's online, so here's a chance to maybe actually get to talk to somebody that maybe you've already applied with.
Right.
So yeah, it's a really good place to and find out about some other employers you may not have known about.
And it seems to me that's a key, that you might go looking to talk to company X, and no, it doesn't, but company Y and Z that you hadn't even thought of may be able to kind of get you together. So what a great opportunity. Once again, as we wrap up, 9 to 2, this will be at the Verde Valley Fairgrounds, Job, Career, and Education Fair. Be part of it. If you have somebody that maybe you're doing okay, but a grandson, say, or something like that, think about that. Talk to your family and friends and tell them this is a great opportunity to kind of get matched up with workers and employers. Dave, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate having you come in and chat with us today. It's Countywide. We'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's Countywide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.